about leadership with purpose, I want to share with you a few things about that. So, um, again, I can't know who was there last time and who was not there. So I'll give a little bit of introduction about myself and my business, and then we can talk about um, leadership. So I have over 15 years working experience, and my work experience mainly vary into three sectors or three categories. So one is a lot in non-development world, a non-profit organization, and a lot of experience in creative business and creative economy, and also working a lot with tech and edu tech companies as well. So, but everything I've done in my life, I have realized that they are centered to one thing. And sometimes people say this, and it sounds very cliche, but literally my 15 years of work has been varied mostly in helping people or supporting people in one way or another, using the power of storytelling. So let me say I call myself a storyteller. And when I started really, really young, in my career, so my first job, I was just fresh from high school in 2008, graduating from high school, and my school immediately hired me to be a teacher. And that was my first professional job. My first business, I was in high school. So really everything started from around then. One thing I realized is you can go to school, and going to school is good. So I'm here speaking to students, so I need to really, really be mindful of my language on school and so forth. But I realized that there is a big component that is really, really important to make people's life is the people we meet. So yes, you can have knowledge, you can have a doctorate or PhD, but if you really don't acknowledge the people you work with or the people you meet on a daily basis, it doesn't really work. And the reason I say this, I like to be very practical as well. So the reason I say this is because of my personal experience. So from all my jobs, as I'm telling you, I have 15 years working experience. I've been hired or worked in over six companies, and none of the company really hired me because of a higher degree or higher marks I had. It was because of someone I met who hired me or recommended me, and then when I was there, I will get promotion because of people that I have worked with. So because of that, I made it a purpose as well to do the same, to give back to the community. Someone calls me to speak to students, I immediately jump in and then come to talk to. But there's something that is really a unifier to all of this too much words that I'm telling you is it's always important to know where you're heading, right? And when you're talking about leadership, people then take to be a director, to be a manager, to be a CEO, but you are your own leader, right? You're your own CEO. So let's start from there. So as your own CEO, what is your purpose? Let's start from there, right? So why are you doing what you are doing? Why are you making the decision you are making today? Um, I just um, Richard, last month launched a podcast. It's called Salon 3. And my first episode was around decision making. And decision making is really important. And decision making comes from having a purpose. If you don't have the right purpose, if you don't have the right direction, you don't make the right decision. And then what that means, it means it impacts you on daily basis, right? Every single decision you make, it's impact your life, right? So as we speak today, you decided to come here. That was a decision. And that decision should have a purpose. Why actually did you decide to come here? Was it because you're bored and then you're like, let me just go to listen to that old man? Or was it because you genuinely felt like there is something I can come um, and do? And that was your purpose today. So now your output, the output of you being here will depend on why you came here. So it will depend on the purpose you came here. So were you just out of sight of boardroom and you decided to come here? I am telling you, you're just gonna spend 1 hour listening, but everything will come from here and they will get out there, right? Because you had enough purpose, you just came to spend time. Did you come because you genuinely felt like, oh, I have two, three, five questions that I want to ask Malik? And then you would make sure that you have asked your question. And then maybe you'd learn one or two things from the answers I will give you. Or you may not learn something, but you'll be like, oh, this is what Malik said. I want to challenge this status for what Malik said, right? Because you really came here with a particular purpose. So without further ado, I think that's too much of talking. Because I'm doing this online, I would rather keep quiet and then let you guys ask me questions. And then we are supposed to be together for 1 hour. If I don't get much questions, then I may have a few more other stories to share. But I would rather we make this more interactive than just me talking. So over to you. Oh, by the also, if you ask me questions, it could be about leadership, or if you read my biography, so it could be also about any other thing that you find interesting, depending on what you read about me.
Yes, Malik, as the students prepare to ask the questions, I know now they are probably putting them down. Let me ask the first question. Um, the organization that you are working with now, the 63 Incorporated, you are co-founder and CEO. What's the story behind? And you've been in different jobs, you've been in different companies. Why not working and starting or co-creating and being a CEO of this one? I know this is not your first professional job, as you mentioned. Why the 63 Incorporated? And what's even the
Yeah.
story behind it, if you like to share?
Yeah. I mean, good question. And then also connect to what we are talking about today, which is purpose. So I've worked with different organizations. I've co-founded different businesses, by the way, as well. As an entrepreneur, invested in a few businesses. But there is a particular reason I decided to leave everything behind in terms of time investment and actually invest my time and energy to build this one. And that comes from it comes really from two reasons. One, I've always passionate about creative industry and building creative industry. Um, because I believe in power of storytelling, and creative industry is storytelling. It's convening something to create a story that sells or convince people to do one thing or the other. So that's one. And second is I I am an opportunist, so I go where the opportunities are. Um, and trust me, there is so much opportunity in creative industry. So nowadays we don't even call it creative industry anymore. We call it creative economy because it's a huge economy sector. So it contributes a lot to GDP, and for young people as well. It's create different job opportunities. By the way, as we speak in my office, I have one, two, three, four, five students from LAU that works for me. Um, and and the reason it's because of how LAU shape people, their mindset, their thinking, and then so forth. But for me, I am happier when I'm creating more jobs for younger people. So I'm more happier when I'm contributing to someone to eat today, or a young person to be able to buy a phone because they got a job and they want to buy just a phone, right? So that is one part. And the second part is, as I said, I'm an opportunist, so I see where there's a money opportunity, but I also see where there is a gap. So as a creative person, there was or there is a big gap in the in creative industry. So we are not there yet. There is so much to do, and there's so much to change the status quo, especially in my country, in Rwanda. And we really came in to solve that purpose. So just to let you know, our company is going to be 5 years this year. But within the last 5 years, we managed to have really great clients. As we speak today, we have top brands in the country. So we have brands like Rwanda, Irembo, banks, government institutions, and then all of that happened in 5 years. And the only reason it happened is because we've managed to bridge the gap between the needs that was there and then satisfy the need on the market in by providing something very different and very substantial, which is the context. So when you are creating, you need to create from context. It's very, very important. And then that's really what we do. So we try to have context and we create from context.
Wow, great stuff. Thank you so much. I mean, the idea of um, spotting a gap and fashioning solutions to address it is very, very important. And as entrepreneurs, I believe this is what you do. And these are some of the things that our students who always want to learn from. So then, before I ask any other question, do you have questions, students? This is about you, not about me or Malik. So if you have any question, you can go off mute and ask the question, or you can use the chat. Okay. So I have one question here asked by Augustine. Say there is a saying that lack of funds kills idea. What do you suggest one should do when we don't have enough funding to bring this idea to life?
That's a very interesting and good question. Yes. So you might have so many ideas, but if you don't have funds, it doesn't work, right? But it depends on the idea. I'm also a huge fan of starting small. I really believe in starting small and I also believe in having a bigger picture. So what does that mean? It means that you may have an idea of creating the next industrial revolution mobile phone, right? But creating a mobile phone is expensive. You need to do a lot of research and development, a lot of prototypes, a lot, right? So that's not an idea you'd wake up in the morning and do. Or for a matter of fact, that's even a really big idea, right? You might even have an idea of, let's say, I don't know, having the opening the best healthy fast food restaurant, right? Which maybe require a couple of grants, maybe like 20K USD or 30K USD. So you don't have that money. So what I say I'm a stronger believer of starting small is I have seen people getting stuck in their life because they have one idea they want to do and they don't have funds to do it. And therefore they can't do anything else. So where I'm heading is I am heading that it's okay for you to have a good idea. You don't have to do it right away. Yeah. Just do something else that will enable you to actually get to that other idea that's of something you wanted to do. Don't just jump on the idea because you want to do it. Take it slow, do something else, invest, find investors, save until you have the funds to do what you want to do. Yeah. That connects me to do not hide good opportunities to yourself. I know people say people steal, but find people you trust to see if they can invest in you. So, for a matter of fact, last time when I was at LAU, one of the students approached me with a really, really amazing idea of something he has always wanted to do. He has a prototype and he wanted us to work together. I was like, yes, I can't until I see the product. So I asked him to come and show me the product. Really, really cool product that I strongly believe that would change the market in Kigali. But the number one thing I told him, I was like, do not tell this to someone else because he has a really good idea, but his idea is so easy to be copied. So I was like, don't do this for now. Don't just go around show people your idea. Be a silent investment seeker, right? Because what you have even for matter of fact, for me as well. Um, it's just that I don't have interest in copying your idea, but it was very easy for me to go on my bank account to get a couple of grants, and then what the guy would have seen the next day would have seen his product on the market. So you need to be able to start small, do something else that will enable you to the investment of what you need. Find investors, find partners. You are nothing if you work alone. Also go to people you trust.
All right. Great stuff. Thank you. So there's another question. Naha said, "Hello, sir. How to build or be part of a team that inspire and hold others accountable?"
Good question. So do you know how they say, I'm sure you know, you agree or don't disagree. I have my own perspective I want to share today. Or actually I'm sharing. So do you know how they say that Gen Z are very entitled? I'm sure someone you've heard this or no? Can I see a few thumbs up if you've heard this? No? No one heard about this? Interesting. Okay, that's okay. Then I'll use a different example. I was gonna use that example. But so for my own experiences when I was younger in my early stage of career, I have never worked with someone who don't inspire me. So if you don't inspire me, if I don't see you as someone that I can learn one or two things from, it's a pass. So for me, I go for jobs or I work with people that I can learn from them. So that's one. But sometimes, again, this because I was privileged to be in those conditions to choose who can be my boss. But sometimes we're in situation where you can't choose your boss, right? Because life happens, and that's the one of the biggest situation that can ever happen. So then you need to make the environment work for you. So how do you make your environment work for you? You build a team. You build a conducive environment. So the number one thing I'll find as a leader to build a conducive and then build a really good team is to shape your team as first of all, you need to build an environment. As a leader, you need to build an environment that you would also want to work in that environment. You know, some people are very like very bossy, they shout a lot, they give bad energy to people. Because it's not concerning them, it's they are putting that to people. So you usually need to think about if I was a boss somewhere else, how do you want my boss to treat me? And that's how you should treat your team. That's how you should build your team. Yeah. Um, how does that work in terms of accountability? Is to make sure that you are sharing your vision to the team. Yeah. So you always have to make sure that people knows what you think, good or bad. I've had terrible ideas. But I always start with disclaimer to my team and say, hey, by the way, this is what I think, but there's no guarantee that I'm all right. I welcome to hear from you. So another thing, again, as I'm speaking of that, it's really, really important to have what nowadays they call open door culture. So hear people, hear what they like, hear what they feel, and so forth. And then sometimes it's not really, sometimes it's not about, sometimes to have a good working environment, it's not about to hear people when it just comes to work. It's empathy. And then empathy comes from hearing people, understanding their life, what they like, what they don't like, their challenges. I once had a colleague, female, who was going through a divorce situation. And she really opened up for me and then told me the situation she was going through, court cases and stuff. And then I was like, okay, I understand. And every time when you have a court for your divorce, you don't have to write any email to say where you will be. You don't have to tell me anything. Just tell me you are off duty and go. I will know where you are. And if people need you, I will defend you. Yeah. And then every time when we would start a meeting, I'll start by asking her questions about the process, how far the process is, if anything I can help. Does she need me to help her to find lawyers and so forth? And then what that built, not only that it built a really strong woman who feels like they're supported and who could just deliver as a beast. In the end, it also created friendship. So I don't work for that organization anymore, but I stay connected with this woman. So we are friends now. So really creating an organization that inspire each other is to create, it's to connect beyond work. And I know some young people don't think that you need to be friends with your coworkers. I'm not saying be best friend with your coworkers, but be empathetic. I rest my case there.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much. So I believe you can always come back and ask for follow-up. You have to. So Naha, if you are fine, that's fine. Other than that, if you need follow-up, we have two more questions
Yeah,
that are here. But
yeah. But,
before
but also, please open your mic. Huh? If you want to
exactly,
talk, just talk through.
I mean,
That makes me more confident than reading.
exactly,
Otherwise, I feel like I'm speaking to robots.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
know
that's
there
the
is
point.
human on the other end.
Yeah, so you are encouraged to actually use your mic to ask the question. Now, my take on the idea of being a part of a team that inspires you or building a team that is inspirational are two things. One is that what does inspiration mean to you? That's the first thing you need to clarify. Some people may consider inspiration from the perspective of ideas lessons, as Malik said. Others may look at it from, reward point of view. Is this team rewarding? And the rewards can also be in different categories. Are they able to identify or um, kind of see the contribution I bring to this team? Do they appreciate? Can I learn something from them? Can I grow in this team? So there are so many questions that you need to answer in order to arrive at a better definition of what inspiration means to you. And once you do that, I believe you guys as Gen Zs have so many opportunities that you can always choose from. And you have your life ahead of you. You cannot be within a team that, doesn't inspire you and basically drains you as you advance in your career. So do the definition first and then you look forward to what works for you. All right. So again, please use your mic so we can hear you talk. Now I have two more questions. Uh Kimunila, sorry if I don't get your name right. You said, "Hi Malik, how do you avoid making decisions driven by financial constraints?" And Malik, you can also add this question: How can you find the best co-founder for your venture? And you continued, and if that any qualities to look out for or skills.
Yeah. Um, Man, financial decisions. I am the worst person to ask about making financial decisions. Let me be honest with you. I make terrible choices. I am the kind of a person who always make bad financial decisions because I like to do what makes me happy. So if I have money on my bank account and I see a nice car, I want to buy it, I just buy it. I always buy new phones, like since iPhone 2. Since literally the second generation of iPhone, I've owned every single iPhone generation that has came out. And you can imagine I started doing that when I was getting paid. Now I can afford to buy it. It can be stolen and then I will buy another one. But back then I used to save for almost a year to buy an iPhone because I just liked it. And eventually become part of me, part of my lifestyle, part of my brand. And nowadays, I just feel like I have to do it. Do I have actually to do it? No, I do not have to do it. Even when I'm buying it, I know even when I'm buying it, I know I am making a terrible decision, but I still go for it because it makes me happy. Anyway, the reason I'm starting from here, it's because I just don't want to talk to you guys and then very, very, very superficial to tell you just the good things that all public speakers talk to you about. I'm just trying to explain you that it's okay sometimes to not make a good financial decision. Um, and constraint comes in, right? So constraint comes. because of what you value, right? So you always, before you make any financial decision, either it makes you happy or no, you need to see what you value most. Yeah. So what is it important for you now? And remember, what is important for you today might not be important for you tomorrow or after tomorrow. So if you are investing, it's always about the long term. It's not about what do you need now, it's what you need in the next 10 years or 5 or 3, because you are making a business investment. And you might not get this money back, or you might actually not even get this money ever. Because when you go to business, you can be successful or you can fail. So, and you can do risk mitigation, but sometimes you are still limited on how far you can go. Um, and when you are making personal decisions, they're just personal decisions. So really, one thing I can say on how to avoid to make decision that are based on financial constraint. Take finances aside first for any decision you're going to make, right? First of all, understand why that decision. Why do you want to do what you want to do? Why do you want to go where you want to go? Why do you want to invest in what you want to invest in? Get a purpose first. So now, when you have a purpose, then that would help you to decide on what you want to decide on. So once you have decided, and then your second question is how? How am I going to do this? Do I need money? Do I need to borrow money? Do I need to take on my savings? Where do I need to get this money from? But the problem should never ever start on finance question. It should always start with why. So my favorite book I always tell people is it's called Always Start with Why, which was written by this guy that I never know how to spell his name, but because today I'm very lucky to be on my computer, I can find it. It's Simon Snack, but I don't know how to spell snakes. Always starts with Y by yes, Sinek, Simon Sinek. Um, yes, so I'm just pasting the name and the author here, but this is one of my favorite book of all the time because it really trains you on thinking wise of things. And then that's how you should think about your financial decisions as well. How do I find the right co-founder? I don't think there is such a thing of looking into qualities of a co-founder because, first of all, having a co-founder is two things. It's someone that you align, again, for what I'm talking about, that you have the same whys, you have the same objectives. But more important, it's not about business objective, it's ethics. Your business partner, you and your business partner should have the same ethics. Yeah. Um, and in addition to ethics, you should also be able to trust each other and have trust each other, but it also be in a situation where you are so open to tell each other's what you think and then share your feelings. So again, what does this mean? It means you could be a good business partner to someone, or someone could be a good business partner to you, but not necessarily that you're going to run that business together. So I have done invested in businesses in the past where I see this is a good business. I like the idea. I can invest in it, but I cannot run it, or I cannot be in the management because me and this person don't have same ethics or same ways of running the business. So I would like to give you a tangible answer, but there's no such a tangible answer of what to do. And then you go and find so many books that talk about who is the right business partner. But a partner, a business partner is like your wife or your girlfriend. Um, when you know, you know. When you have that gut, it's all about your gut. Trust your gut. If you have bad feeling that this person is not a good person, do never get into that in a business with that person. But if you have a good feeling that this person may work, then do your other due diligence. How ethical this person is, how loyal this person is, how trustworthy this person is. Have all set of criteria of things that matter to you. Yeah. Do you know the famous TikTok of he is a 10 but? It's the same, right? So you may like someone, as a good business partner because he has good ideas, but he's unethical, and you don't want to do in a business of that person, right? Or he's has all the criteria you need, but maybe he shout at people, and you cannot tolerate people who shout at people. So like any small thing may affect your business. So and that's really depend on you. It does not depend on anyone. It's about your values and then what you value most. What is one during the last session you mentioned about okay not to know what you want? How does it apply to you? What the story behind saying this? Oh gosh, Emab. Um, Good question though. This applies to me a lot. I do not what I if I tell people that I don't know what I want, sometimes they laugh, but it's actually true. Sometimes I don't. Um, I have in a matter of situations, I have left jobs when I didn't have another job because I felt like I have done to serve at that job. And I didn't know what I should do next in that company. And I decided to leave to go and to find my next purpose. As we speak now, um, all my life I've always had a business and I had a full-time job. So for the last 4 months, I decided to quit a full-time job to focus on my business because for now I believe that it's what I need to do and then I need to do my business. Am I sure that this is gonna work forever? Will I ever go back to ask to ask a to apply for a job somewhere else? I don't know now. All I know, I want to make my company work. If it doesn't work, okay, I'll just build for my past experience and go back to find a job. So, and that's really how it applied to my daily life. So, how do I mitigate this? I just don't celebrate it, right? I acknowledge that sometimes I'm confused, but I don't celebrate it. I find a way to get out of my confusion. I find a way to find solutions of what confuses me. I don't know if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you can do a follow-up question. Sorry, guys, I am fasting, so I might have very low energy because it's getting to the end of the day with no time, sort of.
Yeah, so what we can do to get our students to talk is to pretend that we don't understand the question they ask by typing. So you have to come off mute and explain the question. How does that work, Malik? So we are starting from yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah, what do you mean by that question? We don't understand. Please explain.
Hi, thank you. Just want to say that I'm actually enjoying this talk and I'm enjoying the responses so far. And yeah, so what I meant by what's one unconventional marketing move you made that played off? What is something that you did differently, maybe something that is not common that you see in the marketing world? I know you do like brand marketing. I know what branding is, I know what marketing is, but together, how is that? How does it work? And what is something that you may have done that's a bit different than the usual marketing manners?
Bro, to be very honest with you, it's very hard in this industry to do something unusual. Um, because clients are just crazy. They don't listen. Um, so someone hire you because they need a creative person, but then by the time they hire you, they want to be their own creative. Oh, we need a creative director, but then they start directing all the videos. They start giving you feedbacks that don't really make sense. So because of that, we are always constrained by actually doing a lot um, in a very unconventional way as much as we would want to do. What we Because of that, what we decided is we decided to take a different approach of being different in what we do. So how one is we do a lot of storytelling. So we really focus a lot on creating stories, building stories, um, and etc. So and then also people call us a very graphic company because our graphics really speaks volume. When you see a graphic design that was made by us, you will know that this graphic design was made by us. Because it's very different in the sense of that. But I don't think that is what you're looking for as an answer. So maybe if I can elaborate more, like for example, when I started my company, I realized that the business would rely a lot on me, and would rely a lot on how people see me before on how people see the business. So I started rebranding myself. So I started having a lot of comms outside on what I think about marketing, what I think about a particular campaign, and what I think about a particular point of view. I did a lot of thought leadership for people to see me and then believe that I can understand them and do what they are looking for. So that's really, and then it has worked. And I can tell you every time I have something new like that, it unlock me a client. So every time I do something like that, it always unlock me a client. So that's one. And then to your question about branding and marketing, these things are actually almost the same, but they're also different. But they complement each other. So you will find that in a very advanced company, they have a brand team and a marketing team. So what is the difference? So marketing is for convincing people to consume or use or purchase, while branding is to position your product or position you, yourself as a human, or position your company. So branding is how people see you and then what people think about you. While marketing are techniques of making people then purchase or engage with you. Yeah. So if you're doing a marketing campaign, you are maybe advertising a mouse. So it's what you want people to think about this mouse and then buy it. So when you're doing a brand campaign, it's to make people think or realize what they think about Apple. Apple makes the best product. Apple is the best. Then you are positioning Apple, right? So when I'm speaking to you here today, I think about what I'm going to tell you. Sometimes I may think about if someone else, I'm sure they would have think what they dress. I'm not on that side of person, but this is all about my branding, right? Because what happens today, at the end of this call, you would either appreciate this call, and then you'll find where you classify me as a knowledgeable person, or you'll have hated this and you'll where you class me. Be like, oh, I used to see Malik, I used to admire Malik, but Malik is full of shit. Right? Because you didn't like any of this conversation. So that would be my branding to you. And then that's really the difference of marketing and branding.
Thank you very much. From what I hear right now is like basically the brand marketing would involve the tone of voice. It would involve like having an idea of a campaign. It would like show all of those things, and it would just be a mark of who you are and it would be in that case like brand marketing for a company would be the image of how I see that company, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes.
Understood.
The
Thank you very
brand is how you
much.
see the company. So usually 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 how I define brand, either a personal brand or any other brand, it's what people think about or talk about that person or that product or that company in not in a presence of that company or that person or that product. That's a brand. Yeah. So if I'm talking about personal branding, it doesn't matter of what you think about me or you talk about me when I'm here. No, because what you may say may be it's gonna be biased because I'm here. If you hate me, you're gonna say a lot of things to show me that you hate me. Or if you don't address me, then you'll be polite. But when I leave this call, what you guys in your safe space you'll be talking about, when you go to bed, when you'll be reflecting on your day, and you remember the conversation you've had today, that is my brand. Yeah. So if you see someone with in a Nike shoe, what you think about that shoe That is Nike's brand. Because Nike is not there. You've just seen the swoosh, it reminds you of Nike, and then what you think that's Nike's brand to you, right? Now, when you go to buy, when you pass by Kigali Height, and then you see a big billboard of, I don't know, iPhone, and that's a marketing, it's telling you to go and buy that phone. And they're going to tell you the best iPhone ever. Do you believe it or not? No, I don't know. But that's what the marketing person wants you to see.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, yeah, for going off mute and asking your question. I think we still have about 13 minutes, so I'll take a few more questions and then we can wrap it up. So do we have more questions? And Malik, you mentioned earlier that you have some other stories that you would like to share, even as we prepare to take more questions. Do you want to share those other stories?
Yes, let me share with you a story. So last year, no, the previous year, 2023, I approached these two students, actually. They were graduates from LAU. And I wanted to give them jobs. So two of them told me no. But they gave me two different no. So one, back then she was a journalist. And she told me no because she felt like she's a journalist. That's what she wants to do. That's what she wants to continue doing. And she felt like if she would come to work for me, she would not be doing what she likes. Yeah. The second one came to me and then says, no, I just got promoted. I like really your agency. I know your agency is better than our agency, but I'm very loyal to my company. I don't feel like it's the right time for me to leave and then go to another business. Yeah. So 3 months down the road, no, a couple of years or months down the road, the person A, they're all girls. So the person A, when I was speaking to one of the government organization, they were like, oh, we want to hire people and so forth. Can you give us recommendation? So I was like, I know two good people. So let me give you their CVs. So one of the CV I gave them was for person A, who was a journalist. And then I knew what she had told me, how much she's passionate about it. But I was like, it's been 2 years. I know she must have changed her mind. If she hasn't changed her mind, then she really, really liked being a journalist. And the next time we met, she's like, oh no, I'm working for the government. I really like to work for the government because of ABCD reason. I almost laughed because one, she didn't know that I was the one who recommended her to that job. Even when she has told me that she feels like her entire life she's gonna stay as a journalist. So, and then the person B, she's now the managing director of that company. 2 years later. So why did I tell you this story? Two reasons. So reason one, it's because I am a bit old now. I'm not a Gen Z, so I'm 36. I am a millennial. But I really like you guys so much. I like that you can make decisions, even sometimes when it's aggressive. But the younger generations, they know what they need and they can make these decisions toward of what they need. And then sometimes you can be confused, which is okay, as I said. But I hate when you don't know. And I hate when your younger self is playing an ego of not really acknowledging that you might be wrong, but you're really trying to fight your ego. But that said, I really, really like how much the younger generations can say, I want to be an artist. No matter what happens, I will be an artist. Yeah. So that's for me, I really, really appreciate that because it means you fight for the purpose, which was the whole conversation of this call. So, and the second more of the story here is as a human, you can change. So what you believe in today, you may be right, but you evolve as a person. So it's okay to change and be a different person. Don't shy away of making decisions. And then the third one, which is the last one, it's always it's loyalty pays. If you know what you want and then fight for it, it pays, right? So this woman, she's in her early 20s. I think she's 23 years old. Now she's the whole managing director of one of my competitive company. Because when I wanted to hire her, and I'm sure I would have not made her managing director now. But where she is, she's a managing director because she knew what she wanted and she stayed loyal to it because she's seen a good end to it. That's my story. It might have been boring, but yeah.
No, it's not boring. For
I am
me, I
trying not
like
to
it.
talk too much because at this age, if you are Muslims here who knows how low energy we are this time of a day.
Yeah. So thank you for that. We actually appreciate the fact that you're fasting, you are on low energy. But I am not feeling the energy at low level on my end. It's really very high. So thank you for that. So we have one more question, and as usual, I want to believe we don't understand the question. So Tumusifu, do you want to tell us what this question means? Please go off mute.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I just wanted to know. Wanted to have his perspective or our thoughts on. Like we have there are some people who claim to not have money to start their business, but they are the ones who, but they are the other ones who have money to start a business. They have resources. They have everything to start that particular business. But if they fail, can you give me like one of the examples that can make the business fail, and then it has all everything resources to make it uh, succeed. That is it. That is it. That is the only thing I want to know. It's all about how can we financially manage the money we had at the start of the business.
So let me start by breaking bad news to you that everyone was not meant to be a business person. That's strongly what I believe in. Everyone is not meant to be everything. So I see people really fighting for things that they're not good at or they're not meant to do, but keep fighting for it. Yeah. So when I was in high school, I had a teacher, no, actually not in high school, in the A level, or no, O level, the lower level. We had a teacher, and then one day he told us a quote in French, and he said, "Tout le monde tout le monde n'est pas fait pour les études." So which meant by then, I mean, I was not privileged to go in good school. I was always in those public school where like you are 100 in the class, etc. And so forth. So and then and basically, if you're not a non-French speaker, what does that mean? It means everyone is not meant for school. So now it's depend on how you see this. So then you feel it like, oh, yeah, I was not meant for school, and then let me drop. Or someone be like, I was not meant for school, but let me keep trying. Or maybe I was not meant for this school, let me go elsewhere. So my biggest problem when it comes to financial investment, people think that business is money. I don't think business is necessarily money, although money pays 99.9% of your business. But the first thing of your business is your brain, is your mind. And if you're a business person, you might not have money to have a shoe shop, but then you start by having a shoe repair shop, right? Because you're starting with what you have. By you being a shoe repair shop, it actually gives you a good way to have insight on type of shoes people likes because you analyze on what type of shoes people brings to you to repair, where are they coming from, and so forth. And then it gives you really good data as you're trying to find finances. But the problem is that, this one I blame it on LAU. I love LAU, by the way, so much. Don't take me wrong. But all of you thinks that you're gonna be business people, yeah, because you are in a business school. But remember, everyone who was a lawyer, who did legal studies, is not necessarily a lawyer. He can be a legal advisor. He can be a writer who writes legal columns or law columns. It's about repurposing your knowledge and experience and see how it serves better. Yeah. So what does that mean? It means that you can start a business with low income, or you can also wait and then learn from other things. But also, you do not have to have a pressure that you definitely need to be a business person. From the story I told you, the person B, she told me that I would always my dream is to run a business, but my dream is not to own a business. And she told me that she always tell her family members that they should invest in business and hire her to be a managing director, but she would never have her own business. And then what that she's doing. I don't know if I'm not very vague, so satisfied to Musifu?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
All right.
One last question and then I drop.
Okay, hello,
So we have
everyone.
2 minutes. Sorry, please go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, hello, everyone. So for me, I had this question. Most of the young people, they often get a good opportunities, but some of us, or many of them, they used to struggle to make it. So many times we get caught up in thinking we have become successful or we have reached our goals, but they forget that it's just the beginning. So as a young entrepreneur, what advice would you give to these young people or young generation who faces this challenge? Thank you. That's my question.
Um, Let me brag a bit. I'm not really bragging, but actually what I'm sharing is a true story, but it may sound like a bragging. But because when I'm doing this conversation, I like to give practical examples. And sometimes it's easier to give examples on myself. So last year, exactly in November of 2024, I bought a Range Rover. Not just a normal Range Rover Vogue, which is like one of the highest of the standard. Of course, not brand new. It's a 2015, but it's really quite great and decent conditions. And I only see maybe 5 or 10 of them in the country. So, and I was very, very excited about my car. And when I was scrolling in my photos, I realized that exactly the same time in 2014, I saved the exact car in my phone. So I had exact car that I was dreaming of 10 years later. Let that sink in. Literally 10 years later, a car I was dreaming when it came out in 2014. I managed to buy the exact car in 2015. Exact, not like it's a Range Rover, but older model or newer model. No, the same Range Rover I dreamed of. It's the exact one I bought 10 years later, my friend. Yeah. So I'm proud. I'm happy when I drive my car. It gives me ish, because I have a Range Rover. But what does that mean? It meant that I had to wait and work my ass off for a very good 10 years to actually get that same car. Not even say work to have so much money so that in 2020 I buy a 2020. No. In 2025, I still could afford to buy a 2015 car, which was the exact same car I was liking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So why am I telling you this? It's because there is this thing that say trust the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not
Yeah.
just gonna wake up and buy a Range Rover. So you won't see me or hear me proudly say that I have an expensive car, and then all the sudden things that you're gonna have it tomorrow. Well, you might be lucky to have it earlier than me, not wait all 10 years. But whatever you would, even if you have it in 1 or 2 years, but there will have been a process you go through. Yeah. So my problem with a much younger generation, they think they can be rich in a blink of an eye. Yeah. Or they give up easily. So you won't be rich in a blink of an eye unless if you're a trans kid, and everything is donated for you for free. And I'm happy for you, mashallah. It's good for you. But if it are things that you need to work for, it's gonna take time. It's a process. Don't give up.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks so much. Do we have more questions? I think we are 2 minutes beyond time. We actually planned for 1 hour, so we are 2 minutes over the time. But I think Malik, if I can ask you to stay for 2 more minutes if we have more questions. So those of you who still have questions to ask, I want to ask Malik to stay for 2 more minutes to address your questions. Perfect.
Yes,
Thanks so
only
much,
two.
Malik. Yep. Any more questions?
All right, sorry. Since the questions is not coming, I just wanted to break the silence. Hello, Malik.
Hi, Augustine.
How is your baby girl doing? I remember the last time you said your wife just put to bed.
Yes, she's great. She's amazing, man. It's very different to have a baby girl. I had a boy. When you have a girl, it's different. As a man, it's just humbles you.
All right. Congratulations once again. Sorry, I don't really have any other
Thank you.
question. Yeah.
Thank you, Augustine. I appreciate.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. From that joyous moment and very family happy moment with Malik, do we have more questions? Okay, so I want to also join the rest to say congratulations to you for your baby girl. I
Thank
also
you,
have a
Prophet.
baby girl, but I mean she's old now, 16 years. I don't know how humbling that would be. Maybe I'm yet to learn the humbling aspect of your your baby girl, but of course, congratulations and for that. It's an honor to be a father, honestly. So,
Yeah.
congrats. On
Thank
that
you,
note, I
Prophet.
would say thank you everyone once again for making time for today's event. It's always my joy to be here. One of the things I love doing is to, invite the people who have all the answers. I don't have the answers, but they do, and you can see that Malik really have the answers to share with you. And I would like you to go beyond these conversations and approach them if you want to. You can share an email or, I mean, she's in Rwanda there with you. So you know how to get in touch with him if you want to have more conversation with him. And then I believe it will be of help to you. So thank you once again. Someone asked
Yeah, you
about,
can. They
yep,
can find me at Malik Shafi on my social media, all my social medias. I try to
perfect.
respond. I don't respond immediately, but I try to respond to all my messages.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks so much. Yeah, so some of you ask about the recordings. You can always visit our hub and you can have all the recordings there. Apart from that, there are some that are not there, and that's because maybe the speaker didn't allow us to share them with you. But those that we have the permission, which I believe one of them is Malik, you should have the recordings after this. So once again, it's my joy and my pleasure to be your host, and we'll catch up again next week. Hopefully Friday for yet another important edition. Thank you, Malik, once again. And my regards to your beautiful family. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Baksa so yang kong kong komia.
kindly take our exit survey before you drop. Kindly share your thought about this session today and let us know what you think and some of the things that you want us to improve. All right. So thank you once again and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Media